BK family, what's poppin' with you? We're here to talk a lot of talk today, man. We're gonna talk about the New York Knicks and their preparation for this home stretch that's coming up. But we're also gonna talk about the NBA rumor mill that's beginning to heat up. The deadline, the NBA trade deadline is March 25th, and there's gonna be some guys out there on the market, ladies and gentlemen. And we're not talking about this as it pertains to the New York Knicks, but just in general, guys that's on the market that might be available. Of course, we'll look at and see what the Knicks might want to do too. The Westchester Knicks, they began play today. Talk about the G League a little bit, see what's going on. We're gonna have fun on the Shootaround today, ladies and gentlemen. So before we even get into that, the first thing I want to announce though, and you guys probably already seen it, the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, are going to finally open their doors to fans. The Knicks put out some PR today. It says, we want to thank Governor Cuomo for allowing us to move forward with welcoming fans back to MSG. We intend to host roughly 2,000 fans at every game, beginning with the February 23rd Knicks game against the Warriors and the February 26th Ranger game against the Bruins. Health and safety remain our top priority, and we will be working closely with state and health officials to implement the strongest operating protocols. We know our fans are anxious to return, and we can't wait to see them at the Garden once again. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to get back to the Garden and enjoy the NBA, enjoy the New York Knicks with fans, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be good. It's going to be nice. Finally back at the Garden, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm talking about. And it's at perfect timing as the Knicks, well, they're preparing for a home stretch. But I don't know. They start February 23rd. February 23rd is when the Garden is going to open back up for fans. I'd have to look at the schedule to see, but that may be just about when the Knicks homestand. It might be right in the middle of the Knicks homestand. So that is going to be a good thing for the New York Knicks. You know what I'm saying? To finally have some stands in the crowd with the Knicks playing well. You know, the crowd, even 2,000 people, you know, is gonna energize the team and, you know, finally get a chance to, you know, hear the crowd chant for Quickly, right? Hear the crowd cheer for Obi. Unfortunately, well, you know, with it only being 2,000 people, you may not hear, you know, the "We want Derek" or "We want Quickly." We may not hear that with just 2,000 people in the stands. You know, they may be a little bit easier, but it's going to be exciting to finally have some stands back, fans back at the Garden. You know, Tony. Hopefully, Tony, we can get together and get at the Garden together. I don't know if they're going to allow groups to play. You know what I'm saying? Or groups to, groups to get together and stuff like that. But I'd love to get back at the Garden. I'm glad it's going to open back up, man.
Hey, I'm sure they are. They just want the money. So as long as the tickets is paid for, and I'm sure they have a space, and like we won't be as close to each other, you know what I mean, as a normal event, but I'm sure they allow you to buy as many as you can.
I'm not sure.
Interesting what the price is going to be.
Right. That's going to be one thing. What the price is going to be with limited tickets, only 2,000 tickets per game. What are the prices going to be? I'm pretty sure they'll be reaching out to people like myself and others, to say, hey, we got tickets available because I got my name on the list. I put my deposit down on the list and everything. I don't know if they're going to be doing groups, like they probably won't have the group rooms open and stuff like that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens and what comes of it. I'm just excited, super excited that we'll finally have some fans at the Garden as the Knicks prepare for this home stretch. Before we even get into the home stretch, though, I want to reflect back on last night's game. I'm going to start with you, Joe. Just reflect back on last night's game and how you feel now. It's been not even 24 hours, but you had a chance to really kind of think about the game from last night and reflect on it a little bit. Talk to me, Joe. How you feel now?
A little bit calmer. I was kind of disappointed. I was mad towards the end. I was like, we were so close. But I've calmed down now. I'm like, they played a very good game. It was kind of like a playoff series against the Heat, which is a team probably in the next couple of years that we're going to have to face off with in the playoffs. So I feel like Tom Thibodeau had them set like a playoff mentality. They played hard. They played well. I think I kind of put the loss a little bit on Tibbs because I thought in the last 3 minutes he should have had Rose in, but after hearing his press conference afterwards, he didn't want to put Rose in because Rose was just getting off the plane and was just after arriving with the Knicks. So, right. But look, we have more games coming up. The schedule gets a little bit easier, and hopefully we can get back to close by the end of the first schedule. And but the All-Star break, that we're close to 5, that we're a game or two, or maybe even a game above 500. But I'm happy. Rose looked good. He brought the spark to that bench. We were down by 10, and I think they had like a 17-point turnaround at one point between him and Quickly. Quickly didn't play great, but I think Quickly is just going to have to learn to play off ball a little bit more. And I think the Knicks need to start running more plays like off ball screens for Quickly to come around and a little bit more ball movement to get him shooting. But I think him and Rose is going to be a very good backcourt. And I'm looking at our bench, and our bench possibly could be in the top 5 benches in the league. When you look how strong the bench is and how they turned around, like a lot of teams don't have a strong bench, but we do. So I think our bench is going to get us a lot of games. I think in close games down the stretch, Quickly and Rose could close out the show. Rose, I like to see Rose with Randall closing, takes a little bit of pressure off Julius. Because I think with close games, you're looking Julius and RJ seem to be the guys. When you have Rose, who's a vet, former MVP, who's been there, done that, having him down the stretch to close is going to be very vital for this team. And I'm excited. The season, we're 11-15, a couple of games behind 500, but I'm looking at the table on the standings, and all the teams around have the same record. So this 32, 34 games might sneak us into the 8th or 9th seed. So I'm happy. I'm very happy.
All right. Yeah. Divine, what about you, man?
Peace to the panel, man. Salute to the chat and everybody on there, NBK in the house. Yeah, man, you know what? I got the same feeling since last night, but just a little more calmer. You're not as upset as you were for the loss. But yeah, I enjoyed every bit of that game, man. The Knicks played the way I thought they would play against Miami. That was the 1990 New York Knicks and Miami basketball game, like we was talking about last night. That's playoff basketball. I mean, and like I said, we battled Sim. Like I said, Julius Randle didn't have his best game, and Quickly didn't have his best game either. But I take that loss because some losses you take one step back before you can take 2 steps ahead. I think that loss last night was like a step back, but it's only pushing us for 2 steps ahead. Because I really like the makeup of that team, and Derrick Rose is him playing for us is a big thing. And I second a lot of stuff that Joe said too as well. It's like that experience, man. He bringing that to us, man. So far the game itself, I take that, Sim. We competed, man, and that's all we can ask for as a Knicks fan. Because we're not the most talented team in the world, but we compete, and when you compete, you fight. And when you fight, you got a chance to win the game because you can knock them out on any given day with the right hook. You know what I mean? So that's how we got to look at it when it comes to the Knicks, fan. But I like down the stretch. I would like to see that real quick, just to piggyback off of Joe. I would like to see Quickly, Rose, Barrett, Randall, and Mitch close the game out for the Knicks one night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you will see that. I'm pretty sure you'll see that one night.
Will, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you'll see it one night. It's going to depend on who's shooting well. I don't think he's just going to put, whoever out there just because, this is who I got to go with. It's going to be who's shooting well.
Right.
Again, who's, defending well. You know, it's going to be based on those things. I too thought that Derrick Rose should have been playing down the stretch, not because I felt like he was going to score a bunch of points. I felt like he should be playing down the stretch because I thought he defended Tyler Hero the best. I think he had like 2 blocks on Tyler Hero or something like that last night. You know, I thought he did a really good job defending Tyler Hero, and Tyler Hero was, you know, he hit that big 3-point basket to put Miami ahead for good. And, you know, I thought Derrick Rose should be in there. I thought maybe if Derrick Rose was in there, he might not have hit that. He might not have hit that 3. You know, but listen, it was a good, hard-fought game. I'm not upset about that game at all. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of game that you want to see the Knicks play. And that free throw disparity was terrible last night. Right? Terrible last night. We talked about it last night. 39-16. You know what I mean? And, you know, some of it is because Miami plays aggressive in the way that they move without the basketball. And I think the Knicks can take some pointers from Miami because they continue to move until they find the shot that they want. They don't settle for shots just because, you know, they've had a tough time, you know, getting a shot up or you know, they get anxious. They get the shot that they want, and, you know, they keep moving and they run through plays, and I think it's pretty impressive, you know, and that's part of the reason I think that the Knicks ended up fouling a lot because they continuously move and pass, you know, and then, of course, some of it was just bad calls by the referees. You know, the referees, you know, I thought last night there was just some bad plays that really went against the Knicks. You know, possession plays where the Knicks would have had possession. And then I think one of them was even, you know, Bam Adebayo. I think it was Bam who went to the free throw line. He missed one, you know, but, you know, there were plays like that that really did hurt the Knicks. The one play where Bam, you know, was holding Julius Randle, and then Julius Randle got the tech. He shouldn't have got the tech, but that whole situation caused Miami to be in the bonus, and that hurts you down the stretch right there, you know. But I want to listen to Tibbs on the game, and then I want to come back and I'm going to ask you, you know, how are you approaching now that that game is past? We got a couple days of practice. How are you approaching the team to prepare for this home stretch that's going to be coming up? All right, so let's hear from Tibbs, and then we'll get to that.
And so for us, I want each day to be about learning and improving. And, you know, some days we in the games, we may fall short, but I want us to learn from that. And then hopefully we can take it forward and continue to get better, and then turn those things into wins. And so if we approach it that way, and that's one of the things I love about our team, is just the attitude and approach each and every day. They come in, there was disappointment in losing last night, but today, you know, it was, let's get in, let's watch film, let's work, let's have a great practice, let's get better. And that's all you can ask.
All right, so there you go. He said, let's have a great practice, let's get better. That's all you can ask. I agree. That really is all you can ask. But Steph, what are you doing today? Where is your focus in trying to get these guys prepared, right? Get their mind clear from last night, and then get them prepared for what we got ahead, which starts with Washington.
I mean, I'm not sure how much Tibbs is the guy that goes over the big picture with them, because I know he wants them focused on the next game and the next game. But from my perspective, Miami, that team we played yesterday was the same team that went to the Eastern Conference, to the NBA Finals. And they battled them teeth and nail and actually looked like a mirror image of them. So I don't know if that's Tibbs' style to say something like that to them, but I know I would, you know, just to let them know not to hang their heads. This is the type of team you went up against, and we was right there, you know, to take that game at the end. I hope he's going over that that zone. And now teams, I don't know if it's just Miami, but it's not just the zone now, it's the trap at the top.
Right.
So I'm hoping that he's going over that too, as well as how to beat that. And I think that's, that's pretty much it. Them just hanging in there, talking to them about the homestand that's coming up, the opportunity to gain some ground and solidify themselves, because it's so tight. Any team that go on a 3, 4, 5 game winning streak or 5 out of 7, you're gonna get a nice little cushion. You can go from, I don't know, 10th to 5th or something like that. So hopefully he's talking to them, right? Hopefully he's talking to them about that also, and just focusing on it being about the team, no matter who's in the rotation, who's out, who's falling out of the rotation, to just focus on us as a team.
Right. Right, to focus on us as a team. What are you doing to prepare for Washington with these guys?
Sam, I think if we do, I don't even know if we got to do anything special against Washington. I just think if we play the type of defense we played against Miami, we're going to be in every single game, period. Obviously we have to watch out for Bill, but even if Bill scores 60, if you hold in the other guys, we're going to be fine, right? Obviously, we don't want that. But, just make sure Bill doesn't, go crazy, hold the other guys. We're going to be fine with Washington.
Right. See, what scares me about Washington is that they can score the basketball, right? They score. And that scares me about them, playing them. Because I'm not sure, obviously we can hold them down to, I think they average 114 points per game, but they've had nights where they can really score it up, and it scares me because I worry, are we going to be able to score with them, continuously score with them throughout the game? That's why I get a little bit nervous with playing these guys. Let me come to Evergreen. I don't even think we got to talk to Evergreen last night about the game. Evergreen, how are you?
Peace. It was.
What's good, man?
What's going on, everybody?
How are you approaching the team? How do you approach that? Steph brought up about the trap, right? And we're seeing all kinds of defenses. The Knicks are seeing all kinds of defenses this year. It's really a learning experience for these guys. How are you going about breaking that, teaching them how to break that trap? Obviously, we got Derrick Rose now. That's going to be a big help because he can split that trap, but.
I think as far as the ball handlers that we had, that aren't really ball handlers that were getting that ball at the top of the key, I think they actually did relatively well against it. There was a couple times where, there was a dribble handoff from Mitch on whatever wing side or around the arc, and as opposed to trying to punch it into the paint, there was 2 big dribble steps back to reassess and figure out another way and swing the ball to the other side. I think we did relatively well against that. The question is how are we going to deliver on offense? Now that we have a new guy in Derrick Rose, who's going to bring a different kind of dynamic to the team. Because we know that he can split defenses when he wants. Literally, when he wants, he can split a defense. How are we going to continue to allow our young guys off the bench to grow offensively with Derrick Rose? And I think that he's got nothing but a whole bunch of knowledge to teach for Quickly and Obi, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's doing. But as far as people throwing that trap, do all the other teams actually know how to run that trap like Miami does? Because Miami was running a trap, and then the back man that would help out with the trap, he would be the first man to swing over off of the pass to the other side of the ball, and they were constantly the back man on the help was constantly switching. And that's, if you ask me, that's a pretty elaborate defense to be able to keep up behind the arc for 40 for 40 minutes. So. Do the other teams in the league actually know how to do that? You know,
I mean,
and I'm not sure if any other teams have that defensive experience that Spoelstra's really put. As far as the trap in other teams, I'm not really worried about it.
but see, I agree. I agree that, you know, they're really good at it, right? I agree that they're really good at it, but I'm not going to take the chance to say that other teams wouldn't be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because once they study it and say, okay, they had some success, all you got to do is practice it. They may not be able to do it as good. Some teams may be able to do it as good. When you get in the playoffs, a lot of those teams are going to be able to do it as good. You know, if I'm Tibbs, I want to be prepared for anything. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, teams,
I'm not saying don't be prepared. I'm not saying don't be prepared. I mean, I think, you know, if you're looking at a team that went to, you know, the finals last year, you know, did they actually use that trap, or is that something that Spoelstra kind of brought up specifically against a team that statistically can't shoot? You know,
well,
I don't know.
I think a lot of teams,
any Miami games.
I think a lot of teams are using that trap. You seen the Lakers do it to the Blazers, right? Against a team that can shoot because they want to get the ball out of Damian Lillard's hands. I think there's a lot of people, because there's so many dynamic guards in the league, there's a lot of people that are using that trap. And even, you know, when you're talking about the Knicks, and you might say, well, the Knicks don't have these dynamic guards, but sometimes you do it against a team just so you can practice it. So when you do go up against the Blazers, or you do go up against Brooklyn with Kyrie and James Harden, you're like, this is something that we're going to do. We're going to practice it now. You know what I mean? Against a team that, you know, they may not have the greatest guards in the world, but they have competent guards. But we're going to be prepared when we go up against these other teams. I think it's becoming a thing around the NBA right now that they're utilizing that trap, that high trap, to try to negate the guards. You know, such strong guard play that's in the NBA. Because, you know, the NBA's guard play is off the chain right now,
especially right now,
yes, especially right now, it's off the chain.
And I'm not necessarily scared of it for our guys. I'm not scared of it for our guys. I mean, I think the way we handled it, especially for it being the second time that we actually saw it used heavily against us, I think the second game we adjusted very well. I mean, the first game was just, you know, kind of poor shooting with a little spurts here and there, but the second game, you know, was really, really tight defense on both ends. And I think, you know, I saw, like I said, I saw a couple plays where, you know, it was a dribble handoff, the trap came, and as opposed to RJ pushing the ball straight through and trying to drive and draw a foul, you know, he kind of reassessed and took two dribbles back, saw that the trap, you know, was still going to aggress on him and pass the ball off to the other side of the wing. So I think that's kind of what we do until we move the ball around and find an open man on the outside and start hitting down some jumpers. You know, the expectation that, you know, most fans are having, which is we need better shooters or we need our guys to knock down shots, is just not something that's going to happen, because you're going to get your Reggie Bullocks here and there that may have really amazing games. But after that, you know, you can't have the expectation that this team is going to be jump shooters. And that seems to be the way that we're going to beat that trap, beat that zone. But, you know, I'm just not sure if we're going to be able to do it consistently as of right now. But I think Tibbs is going to be well. I think our players are good enough right now that they're kind of counteracting it and reassessing. It's just taking up the whole damn shot clock. You know, doing all that is taking up the whole. Yeah. It's taking up the whole shot clock. You know, we were averaging like 20 seconds on a shot clock the other day. And you know, that's probably why the game was, you know, a very low scoring game outside of the pace alone. So, you know, we'll figure it out. I got more than enough faith in us.
Nah, I mean, yeah, we're figuring out a lot of stuff right now because we're getting every defense in the book thrown at us. You know what I'm saying? You know, go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I'm not too much worried about the trap with Washington, because Washington pretty much shows that they don't play defense. They want to outscore you. The big concern I have with this matchup is that Westbrook and Beal, you cannot play them one-on-one. You just can't. Those guys can either get past you or like Beal can shoot over you. So if I'm Tibbs, I'm telling Peyton and I'm telling Bullock's going to be the 2 guard, right? Usually he's the 2 guard or Barrett, whichever one.
Well, I mean, they kind of interchange. They interchange.
They probably might put Barrett on. Don't be surprised to put Barrett on Beal because of his size and length. But if I'm Tibbs, I'm telling Barrett and I'm telling Peyton, do whatever you can to try to keep them out of the paint. Because everybody knows Westbrook loves to get in the paint and either take the basket and take it to the hole or dish it out to somebody else. And they have adequate shooters on the outside that can shoot. Bertans. They got, I don't know if Rui can really shoot, but they got Denny too. So they've got a lot of guys who can put the ball in the basket. One thing also too that concerns me about the Knicks, and this has kind of been a problem probably for the last couple of years, is we got to shoot a higher percentage of free throws. I think we shot 75% for the game. And if we could shoot around 80-something%, we probably would have won that game because we only lost the game by 2 points, right?
No. Well, I mean,
2 points.
Yeah, I mean,
we
only
gotta get
shot.
to the line first.
I mean, you got. We shot
first.
We shot 16 free throws. We were 12 for 16.
Yeah, but if you would have shot 14 for 16, that's 2 more points. And who knows what could happen? We could have possibly won the game. We could have tied it. You got to make those free throws when it counts.
I get
That's a big one that the Knicks have to get better at.
Right, I get it. But, I mean, you missed 4 shots out of the 16. That's not really terrible. The percentages don't look the same, you know what I'm saying, right. Because, you're shooting such a low number. You know what I mean? If we would have shot...
games where we shot like 60%.
Right, but if we would have shot 25 free throws, it would have looked totally different. You know what I'm saying? Because we would have made those 2. And the game would have been different. We got to get to the line. Got to get to the line. If you don't get to the
here's a question for you, since you're a coach. What do you tell your players to get more aggressive to get to the free throw line? Because it seems like the Knicks for the past 2-3 years have always been at the bottom of the NBA in free throw attempts. We just shot better percentages.
I mean, some of it is about the players that you have and their ability to get to the line. But when you have teams right now playing a lot of zone against us, it's going to keep you off the line because it's keeping you outside. It's making you shoot these mid-range jump shots instead of penetrating all the way to the basket, right? When you look at last night, Miami they did a lot of mixing and matching, some zone, some man. Of course, they did high trap. They blitzed the screen and roll. Right, so when you had the ball handler coming off the screen and roll, they throw a trap at it, and then you got to be able to find the open players. And if you have a really good defensive team, they play the gaps really well. So when they know somebody is going to trap over here, you got guys playing the gaps so that when the pass goes, bam, everybody's on their rotations, boom, 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 and then they're back to being man to man. Everybody guarding up on their man, and it's like, wow, we just got trapped, and now everyone's back. You got to be able to move the ball fast and crisp. Now, if you have a guard that can split that trap, it'll cause trouble. That's what you seen when you seen Derrick Rose hit Obi Toppin with that pass. He split the trap, and now the defense is vulnerable. They're in trouble, and then he hit Obi Toppin for the dunk. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be something that's really, with Derrick Rose being here, he's going to be able to split those traps, put a lot of pressure on the defense. With these 3 guards right now, Elfrid Payton, Derrick Rose, and Emmanuel Quickley, if Elfrid Payton is making his shots, games when he's making his shots, this trio of guards can put a lot of pressure on the defense. You seen Derrick Rose put pressure on the defense on the break. You know what I'm saying? He's getting the ball. He's moving. He's fast. He's putting pressure on the defense. Last night, Elfrid Payton was making some of his shots. Some of them he was missing and getting a rebound and putting it back. But still, he's able to get into the paint. He's putting pressure on the defense. Emmanuel Quickley, he can shoot the 3 from that spot, from that point guard spot, or off guard spot, whichever one he's playing. He can hit that runner. It puts major pressure on the defense. Now, we're going to talk about trade rumors, but if the Knicks get another guard, wing player that can put that kind of pressure on the defense, from somewhere, teams will be nervous because we put so much pressure on that defense and make so many defenses collapse. Then we just got to have those shooters that can really knock it out. You know what I'm saying? That can really be knocked down. So let's take a look at the Knicks' upcoming schedule and what we got, with this home stretch coming up. And then we'll break that down a little bit, and then we'll start to talk about the rumor mill, the NBA trade rumor mill. All right, so looking at the Knicks' upcoming schedule, February. We're in February. You guys know that. We play Washington, then we play Houston, then we play Atlanta, then we play Orlando. After that, we got a 5-game home stretch, right? But 7 of the next 9 games are at home. If I got that calculated right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. 7 of the next 9 games are at home. The Knicks are going to be in the middle of their homestand when fans are allowed back in the arena. February 23rd versus Golden State. The Knicks are home. That's the middle of their homestand. That should be good for the Knicks. But the Knicks have got to capitalize on this homestand. They have not been a team that is, right now, they haven't defended home court with the type of venom that you hope this team can at some point. They've been okay, but they've got to be able to really make a stand at home and protect home court. This homestand should be, where you look and say, wow, the Knicks can grab, they play 7 of the next 9 at home. They should be able to grab 5 or 6 of those games at home. You know what I mean? Now, the Knicks have got to prove it, and they got to show it. They play some decent teams, but every single one of these games are winnable. Every single one of them. The Wizards are last in one of the worst teams in the league. All right, Houston, they've got some injuries to some key players. They're on an uprise, but they've got some injuries to some key players. Should be a winnable game. We beat Atlanta already. Should be a winnable game. We beat Orlando already. Should be a winnable game. San Antonio, I think they're 14-11 on the season. Should be a game that's winnable. We should be able to beat Minnesota. We beat Golden State already. They're going to want vengeance, but that's a winnable game. We lost to Sacramento. Sacramento's playing much better, but that should be a winnable game. Indiana's a winnable game. Then we play Detroit on the 28th. That's a winnable game. This is a stretch right here where we should really, the hope is that we can capitalize. All right. I know everyone looked at Miami and we were like, Miami, they didn't have such a good record, this and that. But what we played, we didn't play the Miami that was banged up. We played the Miami that was healthy. Right. So we played, maybe a championship contending team against Miami these 2 last games. Now is when we really do see a lighter schedule. I want to ask you, I'm going to start with Prince, if Prince is available. I'm not sure if he's available. I know he's maybe working with his kids. What does he think we can go with in these games? And then we'll start getting to this rumor mill. All right, because this is a key stretch for the Knicks, I think. Prince.
Hey, shout out to chat, shout out to panel. Pound them like buttons, man. We got almost 400 people in the chat. Let's get that them likes up. You know what I'm saying? No, you know what I'm saying? We ain't begging, it's just respect. You know what I'm saying? Show the pod father some respect, man. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, this 11-game stretch, me in the beginning of the season, I said if we could go 6-4 in our 10-game stretches, I think that would put our end of the season record above 500. Obviously, a couple games. So again, going into this stretch, I believe that as a team we need to galvanize. Definitely going into the break. So that we can shore up a lot of things that we've been our rotations, shore up defensive rotations, any gaps with the offense, and much like you said, the game that, I wouldn't say I worry about, but that again, that I would say maybe be a loss would be the San Antonio game. But outside of that, I think every game is very winnable for us. If we play our game, even if we play our game, but as long as we're in those games, I think we can win any one of those games. So.
Yeah, I think we can win any one of them as well. I'm hoping that we can end up, at the end of this stretch, we can be somewhere 19-18 or 18-19. That's what I'm hoping. Tony, what do you think, man?
I agree. You mentioned it the other day. It's about time we go on a winning streak, and one of those streaks that, more than 3, something that we haven't seen in some years. Something that's gonna pump the city up. You know what I mean? I think we've been asking for the fans. They got a couple of fans now. That's gonna be crucial in this home stretch. So yeah, I think we're in good position to finish off this stretch of games before the break, and and then like I said, I've been saying, just play our best basketball towards the end. We got a little gelling period. And then after that, man, we got hit the ground running, put ourselves in position.
Right. And that's the key, because I think that's going to determine what we do as far as that trade deadline is concerned. You know what I'm saying? Everything that happens from now until the break is going to determine, are we going to be buyers? Are we going to be sellers? Like, how are we moving during that All-Star break? Everything from now until then is going to determine that. When I come back, I'm going to answer a phone call. I'm going to come back to Joe, and I want to start getting this talk about NBA free agency. We'll start off with the Knicks and where we think we need to go if we get to that All-Star break and we're somewhere around a couple games above or below 500, where do we go from there? Where do we add? And we'll start talking about this NBA rumor mill. Let me get to the caller first. Caller, you're live. What's popping?
What's popping, Sam? Worldwide.
What's going on with you, man?
I'm chilling, brother. Chilling. First time in a minute, but I listen every day. I see the grind. I see the growth of the station. I see Big Freeze. I see all y'all. All you know what I mean? All the extensions of the Knicks fancy part of me. Excuse me. None but Knicks Network.
It's all good, bro.
My bad, bro. My bad.
No, it's all
None
good.
but Knicks Network. You know what I mean? Y'all doing your thing. So I appreciate that.
But, appreciate that, man.
No doubt. But so I just clicked on. I'm not sure exactly what y'all speaking of. I heard you talking about the home stretch of the season, and realistically, this season, in my opinion, can go a lot of different ways. I mean, there is a path to success for the Knicks. You know what I mean? Us finishing anywhere within 3 games of 500 will pretty much solidify a spot in the playoffs. And I think that's very attainable. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're done with making moves. I think that there's one more move to be made, probably picking up an expiring salary. I'm thinking maybe I don't think DeRozan. I can't really name anybody. Maybe Oladipo if a month from now, if the Rockets are not in the running for the playoffs, But I don't think the Spurs are going to get rid of DeRozan because the Spurs are in position to make the playoffs, and they're not going to get rid of one of their better players, especially as an expiring contract. So, but I do think that there's something. It could be small. I think they're going to target the small forward position. Me personally, I like a guy like Robert Covington. I really like Robert Covington at the small forward. He's a lockdown defender. He's a really good 3-point shooter. He's an experienced role player. He plays off of good players, and he always hits big shots. So, he's not going to score a bunch of points, but day in, day out, I think you could rely on somebody like Robert Covington.
Yeah. Now, is he even someone that might be available?
I think there's a path to his availability. He's on the Blazers right now, mm-hmm. And if let's just say, because he plays the 4 for the Blazers, and he played the 3 for the Rockets last year. You know, this year, this league nowadays, the 3-4 is pretty much interchangeable.
Right.
And I think if we were to, man, you know what? That doesn't. I was gonna say if we were to offer Julius Randle, but that doesn't make sense. If we were trying to contend, you know, if we were trying to make some noise in the playoffs, we're not trading Randle. We're gonna look to compliment him. But
right.
I don't know. That's just somebody that I would target.
I think he would be a perfect fit. I think he would be a perfect fit at that wing position, man. I mean, he plays defense, so you're not giving up any defense with him because he's a great defensive player. He can shoot the three. He's long. He's lanky. He can defend different positions. He would be perfect at that 3 spot, I think. You know,
I'm glad you agree, because you know what I mean. Like I really think that he would be the perfect fit. You know, complimentary glue guy, kind of put everything together. You know.
Yeah. I really think he'd be really good for us at that spot. I don't know if the Blazers, you know, they seem to use him a lot. I don't know if they would make him available. If you're the Knicks, are you being aggressive about players, or are you waiting to see what shakes loose? Someone like Robert Covington, I think you've got to be aggressive because they're probably not looking to move, and you probably got to call them up and say, hey, you know, we got some interest in Robert Covington. What's your thoughts? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing if you're the Knicks? Are you being aggressive, or are you sitting and waiting to see if anything shakes loose?
Well, if I'm the Knicks, if I'm me, it's a different story than if I'm the Knicks. If I'm the Knicks, I'm thinking about it based on the way that I'm seeing the moves that they're making. I'm deducing that they're all in. So I'm going to be aggressive for Robert Covington, and I'm probably going to offer Reggie Bullock and draft compensation, and maybe even a young player. I would offer Reggie Bullock if Covington's under contract for an additional year. I would give up Reggie Bullock, Kevin Knox, and draft compensation for Robert Covington, because I think he can make a difference. You know, just as far as being a glue guy and completing the team, having everything come together. You know, I think he could be that guy.
What kind of draft compensation are you talking about when you say draft compensation? Second round pick, first round pick?
Here you go.
Okay, so clearly we're not giving up this year's pick, first round. It's probably gonna be a first round pick, heavily protected first round pick.
Wow.
You know, top 20. No, not this season. Guillermo, is that Guillermo?
That's Evergreen. That's Evergreen.
Wow.
My apologies.
Wow. First round pick, Kevin Knox, and Reggie Bullock.
Hold on. Let him finish.
Kevin Knox is, let's keep it real. Kevin Knox is a nobody. He's a non-factor. I was the biggest Kevin Knox supporter. I wanted us to draft him. It's either he's making a three in the corner or he does absolutely nothing else. As soon as the guy touches the ball, he loses it every single time. He's not there, and I don't see a path to him being there. And Tibbs gave him the opportunity just like he gave Dennis Smith. So Kevin Knox, we're not talking about nothing when we talk about Kevin Knox. We're not talking about nothing when we talk about Reggie Bullock.
Agreed.
As much as everybody calls and complains, right? So what are we talking about? A top 20 protected first-round pick. I said a heavily protected first-round pick. Something, and not this year. Like, let's say 2022, 2024. That's not to me.
I don't know if I'm giving up a first-round pick for him, man.
Nah.
Heavily protected.
No, sir. You listen, brother. I understand what you're saying. You had me with Knox. You even had me with Bullock. If you would have said 2 second-rounders, I might have said, cha-ching, let's do it. But you said a first-rounder. I don't care if it's in 2084. I'm not giving up no first-rounder for no Robert Covington.
See, the thing is, Portland gave up their first-round pick this year for Covington to get Covington out of the Rockets.
I don't give a damn what they gave up.
Portland.
I'm not giving up a first-round pick. No,
and not just that. We need shooters. We need consistent shooters. And Covington could shoot. But what's his percentage? I don't see him as a knockdown shooter. He can shoot the three, but we need a knockdown shooter.
I think he's shooting like 30%.
40% from the three-point line. He shoots close to 40 from the three-point line. Check it out. I could be wrong.
Well, this season he's shooting 30%. He's shooting 30% this season. That's this season.
30%.
I think he's just another step above Reggie Bullock to me. Not like
That's what I think too.
I wanted Covington.
That's what I think too.
But the only reason I want to give up a first round pick because you really replacing Bullock and Covington and Covington is not that better than Bullock by that far anyway. They both play the same type of game almost, to be honest with you. They shoot threes, play defense.
You get some block shots with Covington.
Yeah, but Covington's a way better defender. But I just think that's not
Covington's a much better version of Bullock. They do play the same game.
Yeah, now I'm not.
I agree with you.
But he plays a better value of that game at a much higher level.
Well, I mean, he could be. Right now, Reggie Bullock is shooting 37% from three so far this season. So, I mean, I don't know.
37. He seemed like he's missing all his shots, and he did 37%.
He's shooting 37%. I'm looking at it right now. He's shooting 37% from three. From three
is good.
He's shooting 40% from the floor. Wow. He's shooting 37% from three. Seems like he's missing all the time, but he had the one game where he was really hot, right? It was like 7 for 14.
That pushes percentages up.
That was the first Miami game.
That definitely pushes percentages up.
I definitely agree with you, brother. On Covington,
we have to consider.
I just don't know about the first round part, but I agree with you.
We have a team full of young guys, first and second year players, some third, right? The third year players are wet behind the ears. Mitch is still like a rookie. This year we have 3 draft picks. Next year we have 2 or 3 draft picks. At what point are we going to stop investing in, developing 18, 19, 20-year-olds to go get some vets who know how to play? It's like giving up one heavily protected pick is not, to me, absurd. The notion is not absurd when we have a plethora of picks.
I agree, but for Covington, though,
that wins.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm just trying to save those picks for somebody who really, really pushes that needle forward. I don't know if he pushes it forward that much. I do agree that he's a perfect fit. I don't know. I mean, he's maybe a guy that you keep your eye on because, Portland probably likes him, but I don't know if it would kill them if they didn't have him, especially if they got Reggie Bullock in return. Reggie Bullock's a little bit younger than Robert Covington. So I don't know. Hey, Wes, I appreciate the call, man.
Good call, Wes.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Appreciate you, bro. Peace. So yeah, let's start talking about the NBA trade rumor mill. All right, because sooner or later, it's already starting to heat up, right? The trade deadline is, March the 25th, right? So that deadline is already beginning to heat up. And, there are names out there, like we heard about Kyle Lowry last night, okay, that there's some people in the Toronto Raptors organization that believe it's time to reset, start over, and let go of Kyle Lowry. All right, so he's one guy that's out there in the trade rumor mill. Andre Drummond's been in the trade rumor mill. I think it's more than likely that Andre Drummond is going to be bought out, and then he's going to sign with a team. And there's going to be some teams out there looking for him. Brooklyn. I think Boston may have some interest in Andre Drummond because they've never been able to replace Al Horford. Right, so they may have some interest in Andre Drummond. And remember, Boston has a trade exception. They got like a $28.5 million trade exception, which is just about Andre Drummond's salary. Right, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were active in looking at Andre Drummond. Maybe DeMar DeRozan is out there. I don't know if really he's going to be out there or available on the market, because San Antonio is in playoff contention, and I would think that they'd like to stay there. But he also has he's also a free agent after this year, right? So I guess it's going to depend on whether or not he's planning on staying there. Of course, Victor Oladipo, we keep hearing that he's on the market. He's probably not going to re-sign with Houston, so he may be on the market. Those are just a couple of guys, and I'm pretty sure there's some other guys out there that's on the market. Let's start with those 3 right there. Let's talk about Kyle Lowry, and I'm not talking about just for the Knicks, right? We're talking about any teams that might be interested in a Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, anybody that may be interested out there. So let's start with Kyle Lowry. I think for Toronto's sake, it's probably the best move to restart, right? That run is over with. If you don't restart right now, you're probably going to be living in purgatory. I'll use Big Bubba's word, living in purgatory for a little while. You know, I think that Toronto should go ahead and try to get something for him right before he's gone. He makes $30 million this year. I don't know who has enough money or enough cap space or enough maneuverability to make a play for him. But where, and I'm going to start with Divine and come around. Actually, I'm going to start with Joe. I'll start with Joe. I'm supposed to come to Joe. Where do you see Kyle Lowry? If Toronto does decide to move him, where do you see Kyle Lowry going?
I can see him going to LA. Either the Clippers or the Lakers making a push. I think the Clippers more likely because they were making a run at Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose wanted to come to New York, so they're clearly looking at trying to get a point guard.
Right.
So I can see them maybe moving Pat Bev and Lou Will or some other contract they have to go get him. But the problem is they don't have a bunch of picks, and neither do the Clippers. So I'm presuming Toronto, if they're looking to restart, they'll be probably looking for expiring contracts and a first or some picks.
Right.
So that's the issue I have, because I think the Clippers have a first next year, but they can't trade it because you're only allowed to trade every second year's pick. So I don't think they can move that pick. So I don't know. For me, for the Knicks, no. I would try and get him in free agency. I wouldn't, like, any guys that are on expiring deals, I want no part of if I'm trading first rounders for. I want a guy like, to me, Zach LaVine is the perfect guy because he's on a cheap contract as long. But when it comes to any of these expiring free agents, I'm good. We'll talk to you in the summer.
Yeah.
More competition, though.
So Kyle Lowry is definitely making $30 million this year, and if I'm the Knicks, I'm not making that kind of move for a $30 million expiring contract. You know, although we do have that $15 million still that you can eat some of that $15 million and you don't have to send out as much. But they are going to be looking at young players. Now you do have a young guy in Frank Ntilikina. Maybe they would be interested in. Who knows? You know, you got some young guys like Kevin Knox that they'd probably be interested in. I think I would take my chances now that we have Derrick Rose. I think I would definitely take my chances in the offseason. I could see Kyle Lowry ended up in maybe Miami. I don't know what Miami's salary cap looks like, but I could see him ended up in Miami, a team that is definitely win now. They were on their way, or they made the NBA Finals last year, and he would probably fit in with what they do. He'd play tough, play hard, fit their schemes, be able to play within their schemes, and he'd boost them. He'd give them another run at that NBA Finals, I think. You know, if they're not there now, but I do think that they're probably looking for a consistent point guard to jump in there. So I could see Pat Riley maybe trying to make a move to get Kyle Lowry there, although they also have interest in Victor Oladipo. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit. I think they would have to probably move Dragic or whatever the point guard's name is that's hurt right now.
Yeah, Gordon.
But I could see Boston swapping out Kemba for him.
I could see that too,
and rocking with that.
Yeah,
giving them some championship experience. Him and Smart next to each other. Oh my God.
Like him and Smart next to each other, man. That'd be tough to deal with. That'd be real tough to deal with.
I know I shouldn't have put it in the air because I hate Boston and I wish them no success ever. But yeah, man.
I could see that happening.
That's what I could see. And Yeah. That's
I can definitely see
They
that
might not
happen.
even give up Kemba because they have that trade exception. They might use that trade exception
They
on him
could, but
and give
they
up
could,
picks because Boston don't care about picks.
right? But they could use
Yeah,
that
but
trade
Toronto's
exception.
gonna want something for the future.
Yep. I don't know if they want to do it for Kemba. Kemba Walker's making more money than Kyle Lowry. Are they then basing their future off of having Kemba Walker and Fred VanVleet in their backcourt?
I mean, even if they don't look at it as a long-term thing, that's a tradable asset that they acquire. You know what I mean? So they could give it a go for the season and then decide if they want to keep him or not. 'Cause I think it wouldn't be hard to trade Kemba after acquiring him.
Right. If Boston ends
With
up
that
with
injury history, you don't think?
If Boston ends up with Kyle Lowry and Andre Drummond, for the rest of the season, that's going to be that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
That might boost them to like number 2 team in the East.
I think easy it boosts them to a number 2 team in the East. Maybe even one because Brooklyn's defense is horrendous.
Number 1 defense, yeah. It'll be number 1 defense for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Like, without a question.
Right, without a question. But Brooklyn's defense is horrendous. And if anything is going to hold them back from winning the championship, it's going to be their defense. Because their defense, it's just not good, man. Their defense just ain't no good. When you look at the stands right now, Brooklyn is 14-12. They just lost, they've lost, they're on a 3-game losing streak. Obviously, they've had some guys out. Anything, but their defense, they just is not good, man. It's almost on par with the Washington Wizards, it seems like. Steph, what do you see being the best fit for Kyle Lowry if Toronto does decide to let him go?
Miami or Boston. Yeah, Miami or Boston. I think it's a good fit. They're both contending teams. As much as Lowry can help us or another team that's either not in the playoffs or aspiring to be in the playoffs, I don't think the Raptors would do that to him. I think they would send him to a contending team. And if Miami would want to give up a Hero or Duncan and some picks, maybe they can get it done. If he goes to Boston, I think the Raptors might even ask for Smart. I don't know if they would just let him go and play, because I would prefer, at this point, I might prefer Smart over Kemba, just given Kemba's injury history. Right. I mean, Smart has been injured too, but this is somebody plays defense. He can hit the 3. He's a dog. Smart is a dog.
I'm sorry. Like Joe Madden said, though, they could use that trade exception and then keep that full roster intact. And I believe Boston still has a couple draft picks.
But what with the Raptors? They could absorb his contract, but what would the Raptors get out of it, though?
The draft picks. They've been holding on to draft picks for a couple years now.
Oh, they get the draft picks. What about Philadelphia?
That's what I was about to say. I
know they got Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons can play a power forward spot. Right. He can move all over the court.
I just don't think that's the best fit for him.
Yeah. No, I agree. Boston probably is a really, really nice fit for him. But he's from Philly.
Right. Villanova.
I don't know if Philly would make a move for him. Would that boost their roster? I don't know what they could even give up or what they'd be able to do.
If they got picks,
they got to give up one of them shooters, Maxey or one of them. They would have to give up one of them Maxey.
Or you got what's my man Thibault? I think Thibault fit good next to my man. That boy plays some defense right there. I think he fit good next to VanVleet. Yeah, throw him a couple of picks. Not a couple, whatever, because he's aspiring conference. They can't fleece nobody because the man is on aspiring. So that a team ain't gonna give away none of them. They ain't gonna be able to keep him. But I think Philly is a good option to me because I just think that his defense pedigree, with the way Embiid is playing this year, put them against the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals. No doubt.
They need that toughness.
No doubt. Yeah, man. And Kyle Lowry can shoot that 3. Him and Steph Curry will kill it, man.
Yeah, they need that toughness and that leadership that he brings. And I'm sure Doc Rivers would love to have Kyle Lowry
Absolutely.
to have Kyle Lowry to bring that type of leadership.
I don't want to go to the East, period, but
Yeah.
as much as it makes sense for Kyle Lowry to go there because he's from there, you know what I mean? Philly can't make that happen, right? They just barely got out of a financial purgatory, if you will, when they made the Al Horford trade. All of the other players, they're in the same position as us as far as, you know, they only have like a couple players that's making over 7-8 mil. All those other players, they're going to have to give up a bunch of players that are making 2 mil here and 3 mil here in order to make up the 30 mil that you got for Kyle Lowry. And I'm not sure.
What's Shake Milton's contract? If you put Thibault, Milton, I don't know if
Thibauld's making like 4 mil. I think Shake Milton's making like 6 mil. That's 10 mil.
Shake Milton is not making 6 mil. So check it out. Here's what they make. And I don't think Toronto would be interested in any of this because they'd be trying to free up unless they were getting Ben Simmons, and I don't think that makes sense. Right, but Tobias Harris, he makes $34 million. His contract goes to 2023-2024, where he makes $39 million. Ben Simmons making $30 million this year. His contract goes to 2025, where he makes $40. Joel Embiid is making $29 million this year. His contract goes to 2023, where he makes $33. You got Danny Green makes $15. Seth Curry makes $7.8 this year. Mike Scott makes $5. Terrence Ferguson makes $3.9. Tony Bradley makes $3.5. Matisse Thybulle makes $2.7. You got Vincent Poirier makes $2.6. Dwight Howard $2.5. Tyrese Maxey is making $2.4. Korkmaz is making $1.7. Shake Milton is making $1.7 this year.
Wow. Yeah, they would have to give up their whole roster.
I mean, they'd have to give up their whole roster just to make the salaries match. You know,
but can you imagine though, Joe Embiid, power forward Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, whoever, Steph Curry, and Kyle Lowry? That's Eastern Conference Finals right there, bro.
Yeah. It's just I just don't see a way. I just don't see a way that they can make it happen.
They can pull it off financially. Yeah, that's
I don't see that they can make it happen financially. So they're pretty much out of the running for him. Let's talk about Andre Drummond. Right? Where do you see? I mean, I know the talk is that he's going to end up in Brooklyn, which he might end up in Brooklyn, but I could see him also ended up in Boston.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're, as I said earlier, they're looking for a big man to replace Al Horford. They haven't found one. They got what's his name?
Tice.
They got Tice. You know, he does an okay job, but he's not Andre Drummond. You know what I'm saying? If Andre Drummond ends up in Boston, even without them getting a Kyle Lowry, you know, I still believe that catapults them. You know, that sends them, you know, skyrocketing because, you know, he's a defensive player, he's a rebounding machine, and, you know, he can do that dirty work kind of play while the other guys, you know, score. You know what I'm saying? Nate, I'm gonna come to you, Nate. What do you think? Do you think Andre Drummond, where do you think he ends up? He's not staying in Cleveland. Where do you think he ends up? And Andre Drummond makes this season $28.7 million.
I mean, if he gets bought out, I really think he's going to the Nets. I think he just wants to try to have a chance of winning the chip. The only problem is that Drummond doesn't make their team better defensively. Drummond's not a really big shot blocker, so he just adds more scoring to that team. But
he's not a shot blocker, but he's a defender. He can play defense inside.
I mean, he can protect the rim. I mean, right now all they have is really Noah Vonleh and that other dude. So they could definitely use a big man to protect the rim. Outside of that, man, it's so hard with a big man nowadays because nobody really plays a big man. Damn, I guess Boston. Yeah, I guess Boston would make sense because they do only have Dice and they have Robert Williams. I think they like Robert Williams a lot, but he's still a project. He's still kind of getting, you know, still filling out his game. Mm-hmm. So Drummond would make sense. But I don't know if they. I mean, I don't know if they can absorb that contract. I mean, because he's still gonna have to.
They won't have to if he gets bought out.
Okay.
Yeah, if he gets
So
bought
how does that
out,
work? If he gets bought out, they could just write him up a whole new contract.
Right. Yeah. If he gets bought out, then Brooklyn could just say we'll give you $5 million a year, or probably sign him to the veterans minimum, because with the veterans minimum you can sign as many players as you want, even if you've reached the cap already, you can still sign players at the veterans minimum.
Boston makes sense, but I'm gonna throw a wild card out to you: the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep. Oh no, I'll say the Clippers.
No, because
I think you move Ibaka back to the original position. You move Ibaka back to the 4, you put Drummond back at the 5, and move Ibaka back to his original position, and you put Leonard at the 2. I mean, Paul George at the 2 with Leonard. It's a wrap, bro.
I mean, same thing you said about the Lakers, man. You put Gasol behind, put him off the bench, and put Drummond at the center position. Oh my God!
I think that. Listen, I think the Lakers are looking for a rim running center.
He's pretty close to it.
You know what I'm saying? And he would fit next to Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis could shoot from the outside.
Man, that ain't
if they had Andre Drummond,
that ain't fair, bro.
It wouldn't be fair at all. Wouldn't be fair at all.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
So there's one player, and this is kind of going back to what we were talking about before. There's one player that I would like the Knicks to be aggressive with, possibly at the trade deadline. And we mentioned it in the chat, Thibault, because he's still on a rookie deal. He's a hell of a defender. He really doesn't play a lot with Philly. And, oh, my God, he would be amazing at the 3 position for us.
Boy can defend his ass off, man. Palmer Lane.
Hell yeah, he can. And he's still learning his game. He's still learning his game, and you could get him for a Knox or somebody. I don't know.
But why would Philly give up a young guy that they're trying to bring along just because he's not?
Because they're trying to win now. They're in win now mode. They need, their window is not that big like ours is.
So what? Then what are we gonna give them to help them win now?
If I'm gonna get killed for the chat for this. I would give him Bullock because they're gonna.
They don't think it's the Kings. I think they grown up. I'll give them Austin Rivers. I think that daddy and son stuff is over.
They're not gonna take no Austin Rivers, man. Come on.
Well, shit, why not?
I would seriously think of giving him Reggie Bullock because they need a starter. They need a guy who can come in and kind of fill the shooting role, and he's a better shooter than Thibault is. And then I would give him 2 second-round picks.
That's a lot, no?
Yeah, right.
No.
Yeah, man.
He was a second-round pick.
But this is the thing. Go ahead.
This kid is averaging 3 points.
Right.
He's playing 17 minutes, averaging 3 points, shooting 25% from the 3-point line.
Potential in him. That's why they're going to ask for more.
But I'm saying,
but Tibbs may not see the potential in him.
You know, I mean, he's not.
He's a hell of a defender.
Yeah, but this is the thing, though, Nate. This is the thing with the Knicks. We're still trying to get into the playoffs too, and taking Reggie Bullock off your team for Matisse Thybulle, who's not shooting well from the 3-point line.
What's Reggie Bullock averaging?
Reggie Bullock's averaging 9 points a game. He's shooting 37% from 3. Thybulle's averaging 3, shooting 25% from 3. I mean, it's not to say that something couldn't change, but you would want to see it change first, right? Before you do that.
He's a hell of a wing defender.
Yeah,
I think he's a better wing defender than Bullock is now. Bullock's a better shooter than Thybulle. I mean, I'm just saying, and he's on a rookie contract. So if you get the guy, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay him a lot.
I get it.
I think this Knicks team is looking for even a young veteran that can shoot. Like, we have perimeter defenders. I don't know if they're looking for more young people that we're going to have to bring up. I'm not sure that's the direction that they're going.
But who's a young person you're talking about? Like, do you have an example of one?
Yeah, we're bringing up RJ. We're bringing up Obi. We're bringing up
Quickly.
Quickly. So
no. Oh no, I think said somebody else. Sorry, I thought
I'm saying we have enough young people that we're trying to develop. Yeah. I think the Knicks are looking for. We need another shooter. We're getting these defenders, inconsistent shooters, Covington, whatever. That's a little bit more of what we already have. We need a
nobody wants to
consistent
trade
shooter
because they're so hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but that's what we need.
We need
a shooter.
We need scorers, man. We got
scorers.
We're playing defense. We need scorers. I mean, obviously, we want our scorers to be able to play defense, but we can't bring in another guy that's just going to be playing defense. We need some guys that can score the basketball.
Because we wasting our defense. We playing good defense, but if we can't score.
I was reading that Mark Berman article. He was like, the Knicks, and they got their eyes on. They still think Bradley Beal is possible, despite what he said in Oladipo. That's what Berman posted in the Berman Post today. And I think Oladipo with the fit on aspiring, you ain't got to. He won't cost more than a lot of them other cats. And if he ball out, like I said, then you can resign him. And if he don't ball out, you don't resign until you still got your cap money.
Well, we about to get to Oladipo. I want to listen to USA Today Sports, what they're saying about Andre Drummond and him being dealt before the deadline. So this is what they're saying.
I'm Michael Scotto for USA Today's HoopsHype.com with the latest edition of What I'm Hearing. This time, it's on Cleveland Cavaliers center Andre Drummond and what his trade value is around the league. I spoke with 8 NBA executives to get their thoughts on Drummond's trade value, and here's what they had to say. 4 of the 8 executives felt Drummond could command 1 to 2 second-round picks in a trade with Cleveland by the deadline, which is March 25th. 2 other executives thought maybe Cleveland can get a late first-round pick that's protected from a team in contention, and 2 others were hopeful that Drummond could end up on the buyout market after the trade deadline. However, I've spoken with a league source familiar with Cleveland's thinking, and they don't have any intention of buying out Drummond. He's viewed as a guy that can help them win now as they're trying to compete for a playoff spot in the East, and also looking ahead towards the summer where he can be a sign and trade asset for the Cavaliers.
All right, so there you go. They may not even buy him out. They may not even look to trade him then, especially if they, right now the Cleveland Cavaliers are, tight in the middle of the playoff spot too. They're 11th. They're 11th in the East right now, but they're 10-15. A win or, a couple of teams lose or they win a couple of games, they're right back in it. So, they may not be looking to move Andre Drummond. He may stay right there where he is.
Okay.
We'll see how that plays out. I tend to think that he will get moved or he might get bought out. Especially if he says, I'm not coming back. If he says, I'm not coming back to Cleveland, what's the point in not moving him and getting something for him if he lets him know that he's not coming back? Right. So, I guess it'll depend on Andre Drummond. Let's talk about Victor Oladipo now, because obviously for the Knicks, there's some people that believe that Victor Oladipo could be in play for the New York Knicks. I do think that the Knicks are going to be looking at a wing defender, right? And not just, a guy, I'm sorry, not a wing defender, a wing scorer. I think they're going to be looking at a wing player that can help us to get buckets, that can fit nicely next to RJ. And that can be a 2 or it could be a 3 because I think RJ can play either or. I actually think RJ is going to end up being a 3 long-term in the NBA. Right? So we'll start off with the Knicks. How do you feel about Victor Oladipo to the Knicks? And then we'll talk about some other places where he might be a good fit. Tony, go ahead. Then I'm gonna come to Prince.
I think I like Oladipo. I think he would be a good fit. I would probably try to include Burks in some type of trade for Oladipo. Put him in the starting lineup, move RJ to the 3, let Burke run with the second unit. Bullock run with the second unit. That shores up the second unit's defense. It gives you a taller guy to play the 3 on both, on the first unit and the second unit. And I also don't think it'll take more than two seconds. Like, I don't think we got to go into first round picks for Oladipo. And if we do, maybe down the line, but I don't think we do. I don't know. I think the guys that maybe have interest in him, their picks will only be like a late first. So I think 2 seconds could do it, or even that second round pick we have coming up this year, which should be early in the second round. I think maybe that to entice him, but I wouldn't do a first round pick. But yeah, I think we could get him cheap.
So Victor Oladipo makes $21 million.
Right.
He makes $21 million this year. So if you could use the $15 million that the Knicks have in free cap space, you could absorb a lot of that $21 million and still you could absorb 15 of it, and then you have $6 million still that you gotta match.
And you don't gotta match the whole 6. So
you don't have to match the whole 6,
so
but
you could do Rivers with $3 million. I think that 18 would be close enough to the 21. You could do Burks and how much Burks make? 6 million?
Burks is like $6 million, so you could do Burks and it's a done
Burks
deal.
And call it even.
Yeah, and you can give him Frank. Frank got a $6 million cap.
Frank is $6 million, so you could do Frank and call it even. First round draft pick. Are you giving up a first round draft pick for Victor Oladipo?
I am.
If I am, it's not this year.
Not this year.
It's somewhere, maybe the Dallas 23. You know what I mean? And I even throw a second round in there. But not as long as it's not this year, I do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Knicks can give up their 2022. They can give up their 2000. I mean, the Knicks, they got their draft pick, so
right.
They can give up any of their draft picks if they wanted to.
Right.
I do 23, whether it's ours or Dallas.
Right.
See, the only thing I get scared about 23 in 2023, if I'm moving a pick, I know everyone thinks that Dallas is not going to be very good and they may be in the lottery. My fear with Dallas, well, if they get it in 2023, if they come close to being in the lottery, they're going to make sure that they get in the lottery because then they don't have to give you the pick and they keep the pick. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if I'm moving a pick in 2023, it would be Dallas's pick. I'm guessing. I'd probably move Dallas because I don't know what all the stipulations are around the pick. I think with the Dallas pick, if you don't get it by 2024, it ends up being 2 second round picks or something like that. So if I'm moving a pick in 2023, it'll be the Dallas pick. We'll keep our pick. Prince, what do you think, man? How you feel about Victor Oladipo?
Man, honestly, I like Oladipo. I like Oladipo, but you already know I want Levine. But since we're speaking about Oladipo, I don't think that it would be too much for a first. I just wouldn't give up this year's first. Now, if we could attain a first from somebody else in one of these picks, one of these trades, for Elford or, one of those guys, if we can accumulate one of those second round from a playoff contention team, I would be open to that, but I'm not giving up our pick or Dallas pick for Oladipo. Like I said, I don't like his fit with our team, especially for the future. I don't really like it. I know he can contribute and help, but I just could not see myself giving up assets for a guy who may or may not want to be here. And the fact that, again, I don't know how he truly fits with the guys because, again, he's a 6'4" combo guard, 2 guard. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I just don't know. He is a vet. He's a proven scorer. All of the good stuff about him. But, again, with that injury, we've seen he's a step or two slow. So him taking on the team himself, and I mean, obviously Tom Thibodeau's not coaching like that, but him being able to put us on his back, I don't see Levine doing. I don't see Oladipo doing that. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be willing to give up a first. I'll give up a couple seconds and maybe a couple players if they would be interested in that. But I know we talked last night too. So again, depending on what I could, weasel out of them, if I could somehow weasel Boogie or the big fella we was talking about, PJ Tucker. Mm-hmm. If I could weasel PJ Tucker or Boogie with Oladipo, for what Sim was talking about, I don't know if he's gonna let y'all hear what he was talking about behind the scenes, but I would like that.
I don't even remember. What was I talking about? Well, hold on.
Well, okay. What Sim was saying was he respected the way that we played, and again, it reminded him of that '90s Knicks basketball, and we could muck up and get real grimy with the team. And I was like, well, Sim, I can see our defense playing like that, but we don't have a bad guy. And when I said that, Sim was like, you know what?
Tough guy.
A tough guy. That's the term, not bad guy. Sorry, a tough guy. And that's when Sim was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind. I would take, you know what I'm saying? I would ship, and I don't even want to say the name, but he said he'd ship my boy out of here for my second round pick, and my boy Kevin Knox down there to Houston, and maybe get rid of a guy like Elford, and then you could bring in Boogie and Oladipo, or you could bring in PJ Tucker and Oladipo. I think both of those guys would help because again, we need a tough guy. If we're gonna exemplify this type of defense, because again, we're gonna run up in the playoffs, it gets scrappy. And sometimes you might have to put them knuckles up, so I don't think we have those guys on our team. So, I think it would be nice to have, a scrapper.
Sam, can I go now?
I don't know about.
I gotta leave.
Okay, I don't know about DeMarcus Cousins. For me, I don't know where he fits, but yeah, go ahead, Steph.
Listen, don't sleep on Oladipo. He had before that injury. He was carrying Indiana. He was making big shots in the playoffs. Now, this is my problem with LaVine. LaVine scores. He has talent. Tibbs can probably get him to play defense, but he has not ever been in that type of situation. So when we bring him in, we don't know how our guys are going to respond in the playoffs because they've never been there. We don't know how LaVine is going to respond because I don't think he's ever been there. Oladipo has been there and he's produced and he knows what it's like to have to perform in order for his team to win. And you can't minimize that. As far as the injury, I mean, I'm going to watch him play, and we'll get a chance to see him play against Houston. I don't know if it's that big a drop off, but I'm going to watch him closely. But I've seen him a few times. I didn't see that big a drop off, but I'm going to watch closely. You're not getting Oladipo for a second round pick, And I do agree, though, that you have to have some sort of assurances. Maybe Wes or through the back door can get some assurances that he's going to resign. But people make those decisions all the time to get them in the organization, see how they fit, right? You can't wait to free agency, but when you go into free agency, there's more competition, right? If you get them in the door, you got a chance to see him. He gets an opportunity to it's like pre-recruitment, but you got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. That's all I got to say, fellas. I got to go.
Peace, Steph.
Thank you, Steph.
All righty.
Thank you.
All righty. Take care.
Prince,
Talk to you later.
I don't think.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Prince, I don't think he would have to carry us. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Well, and you're right. You're right. That was a bad analogy. That was a bad analogy. I'll take that. Because again, that's why I said that Tom Thibodeau, he's not even, you know what I'm saying? If you look at the way he coached and the way that he's talked about the team, even with Julius playing all-star basketball, he still hasn't been like, oh, the ball and everything goes through Julius. So again, he still wants that team approach where everybody, can affect the game. So again, I don't believe that they would look for LaVine or Oladipo to come in and be a savior. I think they would just want them to come in and do what they need to do.
I think they compliment.
That 20, drop that 25 effortlessly.
And he can get his own shot
on defense too.
Exactly. That's my whole big point right there is his defense, bro. Oh my goodness. He locking up a lot of twos with RJ at the 3 and Mitch at the 5, man, and Alpha Payton at the 1. You're gonna have some. You're gonna be. That's tough to deal with right there. Because I'm.
So Joe, go ahead, Joe.
He ain't feeling it.
Yeah, I want no part of Oladipo, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Why? Tell us why.
This year, he's averaging 40% from the field, 32% on 18 shots, scoring 19 points. Since he went to the Rockets, 38 from the field and 29 from 3. Off 17 shots, making 18. And then his defensive rating has gone down. Everything's gone down since the injuries. I understand He's a talent, and we need scoring, but I'd rather see LaVine, because LaVine's a cheaper contract. He's younger. Like
LaVine contract is not cheaper. He got another year on his contract, Joe.
Yeah, but but that's what you want. You want him here. Oladipo is going to come. You're going to give up draft taxes, and he's going to go to Miami. He ain't going to resign here. That's a fact.
You can't say that.
I don't know if you can say that. I think that the Knicks wouldn't make the deal unless he said, yes, I'm going to resign.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Then,
so that's the thing. What LaVine is making $19 million. You have him for 2 more years. He's 25 years of age. He's in a 50, 40, 90 club right now.
Oh, I'll take LaVine over Oladipo all day. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't get me wrong. I'm saying,
but I really don't think that
cost like 3 first rounders.
Yeah, right. And I don't think that Chicago. I mean, I would take LaVine all day. That would be a guy if I'm the Knicks that I'd be aggressive and I would make the call to say, hey, what's up with Zach? But I don't think Chicago is going to be ready to ship Zach LaVine.
Well, if they keep losing, he might put in a trade. If he puts in a trade request, then they're going to more likely move him.
I mean, that could be true.
No,
I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
Joe, Chicago's not moving LaVine.
I don't think so either.
Chicago's not moving LaVine.
They might move.
He can put a request. He can put in a request. He can put in a request.
One at a time.
Hold on.
Zach LaVine could put in a request to go to Timbuktu. Chicago is not letting that boy go. Point blank. Period. He's not going anywhere.
He's a free. They might trade him in the offseason because he's a free. If he doesn't,
we're talking about right now, though, right?
No,
I'm talking about now.
No, I'm talking about the offseason because. He's a free agent, and he ain't gonna. If he says I'm not re-signing, then they're gonna move him.
Then they trade him next year.
They trade him in the offseason.
Right. So Evergreen, my thing is this. Last night we was digging into this. You know, I'm deep into this LaVine stuff. So again, last night we was looking at Chicago. Chicago's next 11 games are way worse than ours. They may win 2 of their next 11 games. So that would knock them out of the playoffs totally. And Zach LaVine's whole purpose for coming back to Chicago, what he said this season, was to try to get them into the playoffs. Lauri Markkanen will be out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. There's no help coming for Zach LaVine in the next month or 2. So again, with that being said, this season is a wash for Chicago Bulls. So again, Lauri Markkanen is already gone. You only got Zach for 1 more year. Even if you say, okay, I'm going to wait till the offseason. What if he tells you in the offseason, hey, man, trade me to New York? So now you got a disgruntled player in his last year. You might as well get something for him. And that's the thing that everybody's failing to see. People can say, oh, well, they ain't going to ever trade him. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is you can watch him walk to New York after next season. It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's truly what Chicago has to deal with. And if I'm Chicago, I would take 2 first rounds from New York, a future first round swap in 2027, 2028, and take a couple second rounds picks and give me Frank Ntilikina, and I'll be happy from Chicago. You reset the whole board going forward.
I would, to make it cheaper, I would give them Obi in that deal. I'd be like, here's Obi.
And that's what I said. I would give up Obi.
So let me ask you this. Back to Oladipo, right? Because I just don't think. I think right now Chicago, if Zach LaVine is going to be moved, it would be, in my opinion, over the summer. I think they're going to try to figure out, can we do anything to build around this guy? That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think they're going to end up trying to do that. Of course, I would love to get Zach LaVine. And if I'm the Knicks, I'd be aggressive and try to and go to Chicago instead of waiting to see what happens. But with Victor Oladipo, where is it almost a done deal? You think he's going to end up in Miami?
I do.
Or is there any other place where he could end up? I mean, I do think that he could work with the Knicks. He is not shooting. He is inefficient this season right now. But, where else could he end up? You got, Miami looks like a place where he could end up. They're looking for more guard play.
Man, listen, if you give me Oladipo right now and we can shake loose Drummond, we're in the 4th seed, and Oladipo ain't going nowhere because that's further than he went in Indiana.
I mean, that could be true. If
That's
you could,
what I-
that could be true. If you got
bro.
Oladipo now and you shake loose Drummond on his team, then of course you got the whole conundrum with Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel, but you can figure that out.
Bye, Nerlens. See you later.
You know.
Right.
See you later, Nerlens.
I think that Scott Perry
I'm telling you right now, I'm moving.
That Scott Perry connection
moving,
is important.
Right. I'm moving Bullock. I'm moving Knox. I'm moving Frank somehow. I'm moving a couple second rounds. I'm moving those players so that I can somehow get Oladipo and Drummond. Then I got Drummond, Juju, RJ, Oladipo, and Elfrid Payton with Derrick Rose coming off the bench. Emmanuel quickly, right? We'll find a 3 somewhere.
Alec Burke's still there.
Alec Burke is still there.
I was about to say, you
Obi
ain't got
Toppin
nobody
at the
else,
4.
Evergreen.
Obi Toppin at
You
the
and
4.
your bitch.
Mitchell Robinson at the 5. Like,
Let's ball out.
the fact that nobody on the panel mentioned Andre Drummond coming to the Knicks, the boy's from up the block. He's from Mount Vernon. Get the guy down here. Get him down here. Like, get him down here. Get Oladipo over here. Let's get to the 4th.
Well, we talked about that last night or yesterday. We had a huge. Well, you was on Evergreen. We had a huge argument about it.
I wasn't on last night.
No. You was on because you remember Isaiah was talking about Andre Drummond.
He was trying to say.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, but I second that notion again. Give me Oladipo. Give me Juju. Right, and let's get to this 4th seed. Let's knock out Brooklyn in this 4th seed. Let's go.
But
like,
you know, there's competition. There's gonna be competition for Oladipo. Who else is out there? I think Miami is a spot where he might end up, or could end up if he's going to be moved from Houston. I don't know where else he could end up. Now, I know New Orleans. They're really interested in Bradley Beal. If Bradley Beal doesn't shake loose, they might look to Victor Oladipo because they're starting to play. I think they've won 6 or 7 now or something like that.
Yep.
Right, so they're getting it together. If they're not getting Bradley Beal, which we know that they have high interest in Bradley Beal, they may look to Victor Oladipo and say, hey, this is a guy that we can use too.
Yeah, Oladipo puts us at the 6th seed at least, man. Yeah, he put us at the 6th at least. Definitely puts us in the playoffs. And like I said, I think if he come to New York, he'll stay. Scott Perry drafted that boy. He respect that man because the man gave him a job in the NBA. If he come here with Tom Thibodeau, Oladipo, if he play under Tom Thibodeau, Oladipo know he ain't going nowhere because he know that's the type of coach.
Let's go.
That's the type of coach that's going to play my game. Him and RJ and Randall would be ridiculous because they all can go get their own shots. You know what I mean? You don't got to pass the ball to Oladipo. Him and RJ and Julius Randle, you get on the ball, they can get their buckets. And he played defense like no other. And I know he's shooting bad now. It ain't how you start, it's how you finish. Just because you shoot bad in the first half don't mean you catch your stride and shoot better in the second half. So I wouldn't even deal with the numbers. You got to look at Oladipo's game over his career. That boy can play, and he fits New York City. And I just think that we got to go get that dude, yo. And we can't get nobody else. We can't get Levine and Bill. I just think Oladipo is the best next thing this year to get us in that playoffs. And then once we get in that playoffs, if he ball out, we sign him. And if he don't ball out, you don't sign him.
I feel
I think, you know what I mean, Sim?
I will be with that. I could sign up for that. That's it. Yeah, if we can't get Levine, and for whatever reason it's an easier trade for Dog, I would take Oladipo.
I wish we could get Bill,
I
but
think it would definitely be an easier trade for Oladipo, you know, for anybody that's out there now. Now we're talking about Bradley Beal, right? Ooh. Bradley Beal, Bradley Beal's, he says he's going to stay with the Wizards. Looking at the same article that you were looking at, Divine, there's some league executives that believe that he's eventually going to ask for a trade. If it's not this season, maybe it's next season, but he's going to ask for a trade, and the Wizards would want to do him right and try to get him into a good situation. The Knicks are monitoring the Bradley Beal situation, but so are the New Orleans Pelicans, so are the Miami Heat, so are probably every team across the league. Right, monitoring Bradley Beal to see what happens there, because I can't think of a team that can't use Bradley Beal and the scoring that he can bring to your team. obviously, I would love to get Bradley Beal to the Knicks. That would be, if Bradley Beal came to this team this season at the deadline, yo, I mean, it's no, I mean, we definitely top 4 team in the East, easy for Bradley Beal. Then you add some other pieces of Andre Drummond or something like that too, man. You know, New York could be going crazy. But there's going to be a lot of competition for Bradley Beal. That means the price is going to be high because the Pelicans, they want him bad, right? The Pelicans really want him bad. The Knicks are obviously interested. You know, all these teams are interested. I tend to think that he's going to be there for the remainder of this season. Just, you know, I live in D.C. area, and from everything you hear about Bradley Beal, he's a family guy, kind of a homebody guy. I think he's, you know, one of them loyal type of guys like the way that KG was with Minnesota. I think he's going to be there for at least the remainder of this season, and then he'll reassess and reevaluate. Now, I know his wife has been tweeting stuff, saying how she's unhappy, you know, just tweeting little mysterious stuff on Twitter. I tend to think Bradley Beal is going to, Bradley Beal is going to stay in Washington for at least this season. You know, I don't think he's going anywhere for this season. You know, I don't know. Anybody else think any differently? You think he's moving anywhere this season?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think Bradley Beal is going to be there. But the Knicks should continue to monitor him. Even if they do make another move, you just got to continue to monitor, because even if you make another move, you're still going to have some guys that have some trade value that you can move to get a Bradley Beal if he does all of a sudden become free, you know. And I'm sure, listen, as we go, you know, those are some big names that are possibly going to be on the market. I know there's going to be some other guys out there that might get on the market. I was reading that the Orlando Magic, they've been kind of meddling around that 8th spot for a few years now. They may look to try to revamp and rebuild. Vucevic maybe could be on the market, right? Also, from the Magic, Evan Fournier. What do you guys feel about Fournier as a wing? He could possibly, you know, if the Magic decide that they're going to revamp and change course, would you take a look at Evan Fournier?
Better shooter than I'm a better shooter than Bullock on a consistent level. I might have to, you know, deeper name better than him, but
that's what I was gonna say. What happens on the defensive side?
Right, that's the.
You know, that's the part right there. What happens on the defensive side of the ball? You know, how much are you giving up on defense? Or unless he's coming off the bench, I don't know exactly what he's doing this season. Joe, what do you think about Evan Fournier? And then I'll come to you, Tony.
I don't know if I'm interested. He's a good shooter, but a lack of defense. I don't know. If you can get him on the cheap. Vucevic, I'd be interested. I like here's Mitch, here's a pick or two. Depends how much they're looking for. But I'd take Vucevic because I think Vucevic helps with Randle and RJ because he can shoot. That's a big thing. What we're lacking is when we're looking at our three cornerstones is Julius, RJ, and Mitch, and none of them are consistent. Like, well, Julius is now, but they're not like consistent 3-point shooters. So I think a move for Vucevic would be something I look into. I haven't seen anything on about them moving them, but they look like they're probably going to go in the direction of rebuilding.
That's what I'm saying. If they're rebuilding, they may want to build around Vucevic.
Yeah, they might want to do that.
You just never know. Once a team decides we're going to rebuild, you never know. You know, all of a sudden players become available. You know what I'm saying? And
I think there'll be a lot of teams after Vucevic too.
So let me ask you this: if Orlando decided and they put it out to the league that they're going to rebuild, what would you think about Terrence Ross as a wing player?
Yeah, on the cheap. Because what age is he? 34, 35?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Something
He's around
like that.
a while.
He's been around a little while. He's on a 3-year contract, though. He makes 13.5 this year, 12.5 next year, and then 11.5 in 2023.
Nah, that kind of put me off a little bit if it was a 1-year deal. Because of his age, if he was 2 or 3 years younger, I would do it, but his age. But the thing is, he can shoot. The shooting never goes away with age. That's why I see interest in JJ Redick, but I don't know.
I mean, he can shoot, he can score. I mean, he can straight up score, and that's something we need is guys who can score. And he's got that dog mentality.
Yeah, just
you know what I'm saying when you're talking about Terrence Ross.
If we were a little bit further, I would be interested, but I think just his age. Yeah, if I'm looking to make trades and give up picks, I want guys that are younger.
That's true.
That are in under 30, that are in our timeline to help us win within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, he'll start declining in his contract. Even though the contract's going down, it's still 10 plus.
He's 30. He's 30. He's not 34. He's 30.
Oh, he's only 30. Oh, he's only
he's 30. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then all right. Now
what about Eric Gordon?
He just turned 30 in February. February 5th. He just turned 30. So,
well, did he come into the league when he was 15? Like, he feels like he's around a long time.
Right. Tell me about it. It does. But hey, Terrence Ross can hoop, man. And I mean, he can score. We seen when he played against us, he was killing us.
He put up a couple of 50 games a couple of years ago.
Oh shit! I thought he was older.
Slam dunk contest, I think it was.
You know, he could be a guy to keep your eyes on.
What about Eric Gordon?
You know, Eric Gordon.
We're good at the power forward.
Yeah, he's a power forward.
He's from power now, so he used to be a 3.
I thought you said Eric.
He plays they'll let him play the 3 sometimes, but he's a natural 4. Yeah, he's a natural 4.
Then since Fultz went out, they've been playing him in like Rondo's role, like a point forward.
Yeah.
What's Eric Gordon making?
Eric Gordon, I think he's making like about 15 plus.
And how many years left?
I think there's 2 or 3 years left. He got a big deal. He got like a 4 or 5 year deal like 2 years ago or whatever. So there's a couple of years left.
Remember him and Rose?
Austin Rivers and Frank took Golden State for Kelly Oubre.
Kelly Oubre in free agency. That's one guy I'd throw the bag at because I don't think Golden State have the money to give him.
I ain't giving no
bag at him.
Not a big bag, but I mean I'll throw him like
it's a Walmart bag.
I'll give him Frank. Hey, give him Frank and Frank and Austin Rivers right now to get us in the playoffs.
You know, you throw him a knockoff Louis Vuitton bag. Don't throw him nothing crazy.
From the Lancet Street? From
Canal Street. From Canal Street.
Perfect for New York. Yeah, I would throw 16, 17 at him. Try him for a 1 year deal, maybe second year team option. See what he does, and if he balls out, you pay him. Because I think he's perfect for New York. He's a dog.
I don't think I wouldn't give dude much more than $8-9 million, bro.
Well, he's making
he don't score the ball
now. He's making 15
okay. See,
now.
That's why I think that he takes us out the sweepstakes. Then I think I would bring him for like 7 to 10 mil, not 15.
We got to see what his market is because you have a lot of teams now spent money last year. There ain't too many teams with money.
I just want him for this year. I just want him for the playoffs. And I wouldn't even put him on a contract. Bring him, trade Austin Rivers and Frank. Bring him in, put him in the 3 spot, put Bullock back there. Let's see if we can get the playoffs and make
that ain't going to do it because they just gave up their first rounder and I think a second for him. So they just gave up for him, so they're going to want
Frank and Knox.
I'm not. So we need to realize teams don't want our garbage. Like we're going to make trades. Like here's a couple of picks and here's our trash. I want to go through. I wait till free agency for that too because in 6 months you get them for nothing instead of wasting.
Hey Joe, but you competing against people. You competing against other teams in free agency. That's why sometimes it's best to take the gamble to lock him in before everybody else get the bid on him too. Because if you go to free agency, ain't no player we talk about guaranteed a free agency because you bid against other teams. Yeah, so sometimes you might got to give a little to get a little.
But then you trade assets for him, and if he doesn't come back, you have to waste an assets. You know,
I wouldn't. It all depends what assets you give because some things are not assets. Like Frank. A couple of seconds, and Austin Rivers is not assets to me.
Yeah,
they're just not. So
them first round picks and Knox. To me, Obi's still an asset, but I think like Obi, Knox, and then picks, first round picks in a couple of seconds, they're ones you want to hold on to for a big fish.
I'm not giving up Obi for. I'm not giving up Obi for Kelly Oubre to walk next year. I'm not.
Oh no. But I'm saying Obi, like I love Obi, but if someone comes to, if like Beal is on the table or Levine,
that's a different story.
Then I'm moving them.
I move a lot of them really build up our team.
Yeah.
Last question I wanted to get to about the trade rumors, Mill. What would you think about Thaddeus Young? Right, because it's out there that he like could be available. Right, if we're looking at a forward now, he's really not a shooter. He can defend. He's really not a shooter. So I don't know how well it works though. I'm not sure what his contract is.
Let me get it.
I just think he's better at the 4 than the 3.
Yeah. Probably.
No, they've been playing him at the 5. They've been using him.
Yeah, he's been playing small ball because they don't have a 5.
Yeah, Wendell Carter is out hurt. They've been playing him at the 5, and he looks pretty good. He's averaging like 6 or 7 assists in the last 10 games. They use him like point forward. His contract.
What's marketing? Stretch 4 or 5? I mean, he's a 5 or 4.
He can play both, but he's usually a 4.
Would you move him for Noel and somebody if they decide to move him?
See, he's another free agent that they're not going to re-sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Thaddeus Young. Crazy situation there.
Thaddeus Young has a player option for $14 million next year, and then 2022 he's a free agent. To make it 13 this year, 14 next year, and then 2022 he's free.
I'll pass.
Yeah, I might pass on that.
He's picking up that player option, definitely.
Yeah. They're gonna be players. They're gonna be players though. They're gonna be selling. You best believe it. They're gonna be selling.
Yeah, that's why I think eventually, if they keep losing in the off season, I don't think this year, but I think in the off season they might look and say, okay, maybe we'd have to try and restart. They're in a rebuild, but they might have to restart it because they're not going to sign Mark, and then Levine ain't gonna. I don't think is gonna re-sign in 2022, and he's a free agent.
I think the Knicks might get him at the deadline. I don't think he's gonna stay there. I just don't think he's gonna stay there. Levine. And I think the Knicks in a good position. If the Knicks come at that team is going to rebuild with Kobe White, Wendell Carter, and you talking about giving a couple of first rounders to add, maybe got a possible chance to get Cat Cunningham or somebody, and they rebuilding, they might look at the Knicks like, man, the Knicks got picks, they got assets.
And the thing is too, man, is
they might come at us, bro.
Like, I always wanted to keep the picks for this draft coming up, but if the Knicks are going to go into a winning situation, the pick is going to be, they make the playoffs, the pick might be late end lottery or not even in the lottery. Yep. And then I don't think the Mavs are going to have a high pick. They started off bad, but they're too good and they're going to get in a rhythm and start winning games. So that pick might be a late lottery too.
I think
so I give them up for Levine, definitely. If we were a top 5 pick, no, but I don't think they're going to be. The 2 picks are going to be probably maybe late lottery, mid first. Depends how we live. Because if we go on a winning streak, then you look to move it. But if somehow we start losing, then you look at it and maybe say, you know what, we'll keep one of the picks or keep our pick. But if it was to get Levine in here, you give up the pick because you're automatically going to be in the playoff hunt.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So you don't mind giving up that pick.
All right. Well, hey, listen, the trade rumor mill is out there, man. It's heating up. The trade deadline is March the 25th. As of February the 6th, teams were able to trade their free agents. So obviously teams are now out there talking and trying to figure out what they want to do, what's going down. You know what I mean? So we'll be watching to see what the Knicks are going to do and how things are going to move. I definitely think that they're going to try to make a move at this trade deadline. Well, let me just say, based on what their record is at the at the All-Star break, then I think the Knicks will decide to make a move. The Westchester Knicks played today.
Yes, sir.
They got on the board. The G League opened up today, and I think a game that was on NBA ESPN2, the Ignite. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I seen the highlights. Kuminga is Jalen Green needs some work, but Kuminga, man, he's going to be a top 3 pick. Easily. Yeah. That Kuminga kid is nice. Green needs work.
He dropped 19 points. Kuminga dropped 19 points in his debut. The Ignite beat Santa Cruz 109-104. Now, when you look at the, both these, these teams, they got some former NBA players on there. Jack, he plays for the Ignite. He had 23 points. Right? He had 23 points. Jonathan Kuminga, he had 19 points. Jalen Green, that's, everyone's wondering about Jalen Green, want to see what he's going to do. He had 11 points, 2 assists, and 5 rebounds today for the G League, for the Ignite. And Jeremy Lin, for the Santa Cruz Warriors, he had 18 points and 5 assists. Nico Mannion, he had 17 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. And he had Jordan Poole from the Warriors, who had 22 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. But I'm going to let Prince give us a little bit of an update on the Westchester Knicks and talk to us about what they're doing, what they did today, and what we got looking forward with the Westchester Knicks. So let me go ahead and get Prince over here. All right, let me blow Prince up. That's what we're gonna do. We about to blow it up. All right, Prince, this one's on you, my friend. Talk to us about the Westchester Knicks, man.
Hey, man, shout out to MBK fam. It's your boy, the Prince, with the MBK Westchester Knicks, game today. I'm going to drop some knowledge and, my perspective of the game today. We beat the Fort Wayne Mad Ants. We beat them. It was actually a wider game than a wider gap game than what the score said. They fought back in the fourth quarter. Westchester won 125-120. One thing I definitely seen from that club, they don't play defense near as much as we do. So I definitely could see Tom Thibodeau calling down there because, again, we know Tom, his calling card is defense. And again, I may be beating them up a little bit too much, but being the fact that they're affiliate of the Knicks, I thought that I would see a carbon copy today. I did see a lot of the same sets that we run. They do a lot of dribble handoff, a lot of the Spain pick and roll. Some of the big contributors today, as much as I was hating on Iggy in the game, like Sim said, I do not believe Iggy Brazingis is NBA material, but tonight he dropped 28 points with 36 minutes. He was a minus 11, but again, if we want to hang our hats on that, the guy had a pretty good rebounding day. He had 15 rebounds. He had more rebounds than anybody on the team. So he had a big double-double. So I guess I got to give him some respect for that, but it just was an ugly and very, rec league looking 28 points, if I could say. Other major contributors were James Young. He's another Kentucky guy who dropped 20 for us tonight. And then the Mighty Mouse, Divine's homeboy, Jared Harper dropped 31 tonight. He went crazy, guys. So again, I know a lot of people love your boy Elfrid Payton, but I believe if Jared Harper had another 2 more inches, he probably would be starting over Elfrid Payton, man. I liked what I like from our club is we're a very scrappy team. We're young. We have a couple bright spots that I'll bring and speak about going on over the next, I think, 12 games that they have in the bubble. We play the Ignite, like I said, I believe next week, Thursday. So I'm pretty sure that'll be a big one. I don't know, maybe Sim will do a special showcase for that game. If we don't have a game where maybe we do a shoot around and a post game after that Ignite game, and we'll talk about the G League guys. But again, everybody, all the MBK fam, go to Twitter. Shout out to, the Westchester team, all those guys. I follow a couple of them, Justin Patton. I follow Jared. I follow Scal. Get those guys a holler, show them some love. And, what I'm saying, look forward to seeing you guys at the next Westchester Knicks, chop it up.
Yeah. When's the next game?
Next game, I can pull that up for us right now. Is, I believe, got that dial-up internet, y'all. Forgive me.
See.
Believe, I had wrote it down a couple days ago.
Let's see when the next game is.
It says we play.
Because I know they play a couple day games. Oh, it's tomorrow. They play tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
3 p.m.
I was gonna say, yeah. I think they got a double. Yeah, double. Yeah, they ain't got nothing else to do. They in the bubble. So tomorrow.
Yep, they play the Greensboro Swarm tomorrow on ESPNU at 3 p.m. Yep. So,
next door.
And then we got a game on the 13th, which is Saturday. So again, I think we get a game off of Friday, maybe.
Yeah.
And so we got a game Saturday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Share it out to everybody if you can, please. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. All right, and we'll see, what happens tomorrow. Maybe we'll do something with the Westchester Knicks sometime tomorrow based on that game that they play tomorrow against Greensboro. Also, remember, I got the NBK app on Wix. All right, so make sure that you get that NBK app on Wix and post something in the forum section. Once we get to 500 subscribers, 500 followers on that Wix app, the NBK app on Wix, we're giving away 2 Obi Toppin rookie cards. All right, so if you want to go get in the running to get one of these Obi Toppin rookie cards, you got to get that NBK app on Wix. I'll be putting the link in the YouTube chat in just a second. I want to get around to everybody and get their final thoughts before we get up out of here. As we start to prepare, the Knicks start to prepare for a nice little homestand. And, of course, it doesn't begin with Washington. They play Washington. It begins with Houston on Saturday. Right, so we got a back-to-back coming up. Nice little break where the Knicks can get some practice in, get Derrick Rose reacclimated to the team. He came out hot and played very well last night. A lot of times when a player comes out after not playing for a couple of weeks, the adrenaline takes over and they get pretty hot. I would expect that he's going to dip just a little bit and then he's going to come back. You know what I mean? Maybe not, though. He could just be ready to go. But I want to get you guys' final thoughts, man. Talk to me. I'm going to start with you, Prince. Get your final thoughts.
Definitely looking forward to us Knicks, taking this step and going on an upward trajectory. As we seen, we definitely not a team that's looking for a top lottery pick to tank or none of that bull crap. So, with this being said, definitely look forward to, however we're going to shake up this roster to get better, to make this playoff push. And I can't even believe that we can say it and, it ain't cap that, we really might, put some pieces together to make a playoff push. So looking forward to that. Much like I said, pound the like buttons, man. The pod father, he deserves it. A lot of y'all be stealing in the chat. We got 500 people, only 100 likes, That's all the man asks for. He ain't asking for your dollars. He ain't asking for, your firstborn. Just give him a pound and a subscription. But again, same thing with the Westchester Knicks. Hey, be a fan. If you can, get them dudes a shout out. I'm going to definitely try to keep giving you guys as much content and as much information that me and Sim and, the rest of the MBK fam can kind of comprise together, to drop some good Westchester Knicks content on you dudes. But again, our family, and I know we got some kids and some women out there too. So we just look forward to it. And hey, man, keep supporting MBK and, pass the mic.
Hey, go ahead, Devon.
Yeah, man, don't hide. Subscribe, y'all. Hit that like button, man, for MBK, man. Support the family, brother. Black business matters, dog. Come on now. Don't hide. Subscribe. Hit that button, man. But good show. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat as always. MBK all day, every day. Yeah, man. But it's going to be on, man. I think next time we get back on for as Knicks, I think the energy, I look like we're going to be having some good days more than bad nights coming up, man. I really believe we on the right road, man. I think, like you said, with these 2 days rest and practice, acclimating Derrick Rose, learning off our mistakes and everything like that. And while we got all the trade chatter going on around us, but I'm hyped, man. I'm psyched, man. New York Knicks all day, man. MBK, bro. Holla at your boy.
No doubt. Tony?
Salute. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the chat. Go Black is time. Yeah, we in prime position to go on a run. I'm looking forward to seeing how this first half of the season ends. God willing, we pull above 500, maintain, and again, I'll say it again, start playing our best basketball towards the end of the season. Hit our stride and make that playoff push. But as always, Sim, I appreciate you. Me and the Prince, we got Knicks and Bruises coming up shortly after we get off here. So
all right, I'm putting the link in the chat right now.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, so you guys can go check out this Knicks and Bruises with Tony and the Prince coming up shortly after we get off of here. So make sure you click on the link, set your notifications, set a reminder so you get a reminder, and go check that out. It's going to be dope. Knicks and Bruises. Why don't you tell them what it's about, Tony, for those who might not know?
Knicks and Bruises. Basically, we're talking about our worst memories and moments as Knicks fans over the years. Obviously, we got a lot of Knicks and Bruises. And just to make sure that we're not focusing on the negative, as we ended out, we just talk about the current regime, the current roster, get some positivity in there, because this is not a Knicks bashing channel, but it's so we can let that negative energy out, let it go, and move on, focus on this new team. That's what it's about. And look out for Knicks Real Talk with Divine. We just did one the other night. What was that, last night?
Last night.
Yeah, that was dope.
Last night.
That was beautiful, man. I'm still hyped off that, man. So,
man.
Appreciate y'all, brother.
Look out for that. No doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys. I don't know. I might jump on tomorrow and do another shoot around tomorrow. You guys will get the notification. In order to get that notification, you got to subscribe. So make sure you subscribe. Get that NBK app on Wix. The link is in the YouTube chat. It's pinned at the top of the YouTube chat so you can enter into the contest to get an Obi Toppin rookie card. So make sure you do that. As soon as we get to 500 followers, we're there. So share it out. Get people to follow. We can get people these rookie cards. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Sim, real quick. Tell my boy, what's his name? I don't know if it's hate or constructive criticism, but I'm going to take it as constructive criticism. But tell Stephen Kennedy Jr., hey, bro, we'll tighten it up for you. We'll tighten it up. Don't worry about it.
I didn't even see what it said. We good. Yeah. We got you. Don't worry about it, Steve. We appreciate the feedback. We out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful. Spread love, ladies and gentlemen.